What's up, guys? Kelly McKay here, aka HVAC Millionaire, right here on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button, and leave me a comment below. Today we're going to talk about scaling your business, and we're going to get into the installation side of the business. So when it comes to installers, we talked about service tech KPIs. Now we're talking about installer KPIs. And the install KPIs, as far as what they make versus what they bring in, which is the job sells, they go out, do the job, and then you pay them to do that job. And at the end of the week or 2 weeks, whenever you pay everybody, then their labor as a percentage to what they brought in should be 9 to 11%. So somewhere in between 9 to 11% is going to be what you're going to be looking at as far as what you're paying them versus what they produce. Now, the complication gets when it gets a little bit more complicated when you have helpers, because we typically have two-man crews at least doing an install. And so as far as I know in the industry, nobody really has a good answer for this. And so we took it upon ourselves in our business to go ahead and determine what the allocation of that job would be towards their labor. So we'd have, if we had 2 lead installers on a job, we'd split it 50-50. Because technically the job should be done more efficiently, more effectively, faster if you've got 2 leads. If you've got a lead and a helper, well then the lead got 70% of the job. So if you had a $10,000 job, they would get $7,000 allocated to what they produce for the business, and the helper would get $3,000. And then we're looking at labor rates, labor percentages, and you just want to make sure that it's somewhere in that category. And so I don't know if this is right or not, but I was never told that it was wrong. So it's really, because nobody seemed to have an answer for this, that's what we came up with on our own. And I've been in lots of coaching organizations, and so, you know, asked specifically this question and told them what we were doing, and they would say, yeah, that sounds good. So it's so, you know, it worked for us. It worked for us to find out if roughly what we were paying them is not roughly, if what we were paying them is enough, you know. And sometimes you'd have people that are just, you know, find a team that just kills it and they go out and crush it. And if that labor percentage dropped below that 9%, it's time to talk about a raise. And we'd go ahead and give them a raise. But if it if it was 15% or 20%, well then we're not there. And so we also have to look at, when it comes to install KPIs, is just efficiency. You know, whatever you have in your bids, as far as like how much time to do a coil and condenser or a furnace change out or a heat pump and air handler change out, or just an air handler or just a heat pump, whatever you're doing, or a coil replacement, whatever the labor is to do that, they need to be coming in, you know, at that labor or under that labor on a regular basis. Of course, there's always going to be one-off jobs that for whatever reason we weren't prepared for it, because the person who sold it didn't do their job, didn't take the right measurements, didn't create the right material list. So those one-off things are going to happen inevitably, because there's just so many variables in what we do. But for the most part, most jobs should be planned for, sold, the right parts and material picked for the job, for the installers. And so most jobs should go smoothly. And as long as they are, then they'll stay in that 9 to 11% range, or lower if they become really efficient. Now, there's also normally, not always, not with all companies, but normally there's a little bit of stock on the vehicle just in case they get out there and they didn't have a whip, or, you know, they get out there and their disconnect's broken right out of the box, so they need a new disconnect. So on our trucks, we kept that stuff on the truck just in case you needed it, or if it didn't get picked for the job and loaded up in the morning for whatever reason. So the other thing, let me think what else you would want to track that we tracked. We got labor rate, we've got efficiency, and other than that, man, I mean, when it comes to like scorecards, if you're doing employee reviews, you just want to make sure that their attitude's good, that they show up on time. I mean, it's just the basic things that doesn't require any skill. I mean, not really. It's simply an attitude and simply caring enough to show up on time. So callbacks, that's another thing that you'll definitely want to make sure that we're not having a bunch of callbacks every time we do an install, because that would need to be on your startup list. It needs to be handled to ensure that they commission the system properly, that that's working properly and draining properly and venting properly, and the gas pressure is set, and all these things, and that all stages work. So if that's happening often, well, then that could be another thing where you could implement some more training. Make sure that they're prepared and they know what to do to complete the job in an efficient, quality manner. So those are the things. If you just start watching those things, so now we've got CSRs, we got service techs, and now we got installers. If you start watching this stuff and measuring it, once again, what gets measured gets managed. So if you're measuring these things, you'll manage them. And when you manage them, they improve. Things that you tend to pay attention to always improve, which is ultimately what you want in your business in all departments. So hope you guys will use this. Hope you'll start looking at some of your numbers. It's not rocket science. Everybody tries to make it out to where it's rocket science, but it's really just there's always some core KPIs in any business that if you're hitting those KPIs, you're going to be winning. And so for each department, you've just heard those KPIs, and I hope you'll implement them and start measuring them, and you'll start getting better results. So good luck to you. HVAC Millionaire Coaching, if you're interested, be sure to book a call with me. I'll put the link below this video in the description. Love you guys. Go make money. Boom.